I really, really took time and I really thought to myself, I want to be there for my big sister, my little sisters, my little brothers. I want to be there for my mom, my dad, and I was like, I need to change, like, now.
Wow.
And
Wow. That's the hardest part.
Brandy's daughter exposed grandma for years of pain and abuse. Y'all ever heard the saying, what's done in the dark always comes to light? Well, Sy'rai Smith just flipped that light switch, and the Norwood house is glowing with secrets. Now, for years, Brandy and her mom, Sonja Norwood, worked overtime to protect Brandy's image. But while they were crafting the perfect story for the world to see, it seemed like Sy'rai was being pushed to the background.
it's crazy because I get so nervous when anybody kind of talks about her and then talks about me too. And, you know, like you see like reactions or articles or anything like that. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna say? Because, you know, when people have kids and like their kids don't do it as big as they or their parents, or they don't sound as good, or they don't act as good, or they don't whatever, it's like the constant pressure of people having an automatic expectation on you, like she has to sound like her. Right. Like there's no way that she can't sound like her, like genetically she has to sound like her. And it's like, but I'm me.
Growing up as Brandy's daughter might sound like a dream, but for Sy'rai Smith, it wasn't exactly a fairy tale. From the outside, she was Brandy's miracle baby, the child born during a high-pressure time in Brandy's career, when image meant everything. But behind the scenes, Sy'rai was kept tucked away, barely seen, and often left feeling like she didn't belong in her own family. Now let's be real. Brandy's whole brand at the time was built around being the good girl of R&B. She had the voice, the Disney princess title, and the wholesome reputation. So when news broke that she was pregnant, it was chaos. Folks weren't just shocked, they were disappointed. This was the same Brandy who played Moesha, the same Brandy who told young girls to wait until marriage, and instead of just owning the truth, Brandy and her team came out with a story that she was secretly married to Big Bert. That was the only way they could keep her image clean, or so they thought. But Sy'rai was born into all of that, a world where appearances mattered more than authenticity. And that pattern didn't stop with the fake marriage. When Sy'rai was little, she showed up here and there, like in Brandy's Special Delivery, the MTV special that documented Brandy's pregnancy and birth. But after that, silence. Brandy stopped mentioning her in interviews. She barely appeared in family photos, and fans started wondering, where was Sy'rai? As Sy'rai got older, the truth started to peek through. She admitted she'd been struggling with her weight for most of her life, and a lot of those issues were tied to how she felt about herself in her own family. While Brandy was out living in the public eye, Sy'rai was being told to stay offline until she looked the part. That's not protection, that's conditioning. And when your entire family has built a brand around looking perfect, it's easy to feel like you're a flaw in the image. Sy'rai even spoke out about how she felt pressure seeing her mom in designer dresses and fitted outfits, attending events, looking like the perfect celebrity. Meanwhile, she was just trying to find clothes that made her feel confident and not invisible. That emotional gap between them didn't just hurt Sy'rai's confidence, it also created a distance in their relationship. She felt like she had to earn her place in a family that was more focused on what you looked like than who you were. Turns out, being born into fame doesn't mean being seen, not when Grandma Sonja is the one calling the shots. Let's talk about Sonja Norwood, Brandy's mom, Sy'rai's grandma, and honestly, the original architect of the Norwood image. Since the Moesha days, Sonja has been right there managing Brandy's every move. From her music career to her personal life, nothing went public unless Sonja signed off. And when Brandy got pregnant, people close to the situation believe it was Sonja who came up with the secret marriage idea, a PR strategy to keep Brandy's good girl image intact. Now think about that. If Sonja was willing to spin an entire lie to the world just to protect Brandy's image, imagine what she might have been doing behind the scenes with Sy'rai. There's been speculation that Sonja continued to pull the strings. From what Sy'rai wore to how she was presented publicly to even how she managed her health and weight. Some fans believe Sonja wasn't just a protective grandma, she was managing the next generation of the Norwood legacy. and Sy'rai just didn't fit the mold. Even the way Brandy's perfect image stayed intact while Sy'rai was struggling with her health tells a story. While Brandy was pushing veganism, yoga, and wellness publicly, Sy'rai was privately developing an unhealthy relationship with food. She even ended up in the hospital because of it. And the saddest part? There was no real public support from Brandy or Sonja during that time. No joint messages, no appearances together, just silent. Brandy may have been the star, but Sonja was the one writing the script, and Sy'rai says she was barely even allowed on set.
And it was never, it wasn't easy to look at myself. And then I grow up in an era where a lot of young women compare themselves to other girls on social media. And I'm a little victim of that. I get very jealous, I guess is the word. I get very insecure when I look at other women.
Now, here's where Sy'rai's story really starts to hit home. She's been open about how hard it was growing up in a family that looked like that, and young, insecure, and struggling with her body in a space where beauty seemed like the minimum requirement. Sy'rai admitted in multiple clips and interviews that she battled with her weight from a very young age. She talked about how food became her comfort, especially in high school. The stress, the comparison, and the pressure just pushed her into unhealthy habits. And even though she's the daughter of Brandy, Sy'rai never felt like she fit the mold. She shared that while her mom was glowing at events, dressed in designer outfits, being celebrated for her style and beauty, she was quietly asking herself, why am I not that size? Why don't I look like that? Why was I made the way I was made? That's not just about weight. That's about identity. That's a young girl feeling like she doesn't even belong in her own skin or in her own family. And keep in mind, this is Brandy's daughter. Brandy has always promoted health, clean eating, and wellness. She's even spoken about her own battle with an eating disorder in her younger years. But somewhere along the way, that message didn't seem to reach Sy'rai. Instead of support, what she seemed to feel was silence, maybe even shame. There was a moment when Sy'rai talked about fainting while walking up the stairs. She said she was treating everyone terribly at this showcase event, and then suddenly she collapsed. Her cousins had to rush her to the hospital, and that was the turning point. Doctors told her straight up it was time to take her health seriously. That moment scared her. She realized she couldn't keep going down the same road. But here's the thing, during all of that, there was barely a word from Brandy. It's not that she didn't care, but to the public, it felt like Sy'rai was on her own, fighting a battle in silence. Fast forward, and now we're seeing this new Sy'rai, glowing, confident, thriving. Her social media is full of music, beauty, and self-love, and people are loving it. But at the same time, folks are side-eyeing the transformation, because while Sy'rai has said she changed her lifestyle, lost weight, and put her health first, others are whispering that the glow-up might have had some surgical help, let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with getting help if that's what someone chooses, but in this case, the issue is how quiet the family has been about it. The Norwoods have a long history of dodging or tweaking the truth. Remember the fake wedding? The image control? That pattern makes people question everything. Some believe Sy'rai may have turned to weight loss surgery to help speed up the process, and that it might not have even been her idea at first. Allegedly, Brandy, or even Grandma Sonja, might have encouraged it, not necessarily in a harmful way, but in a let's fix this so you can finally be accepted type of way. And the thing is, no one from the family has confirmed or denied it. Just like with every other sensitive issue they've faced, it's been radio silence. That silence only fuels speculation. Fans feel like the Norwood brand is being preserved while the real story stays hidden.
This is such a trick question.
I know I just put that out there on you on camera, which is unprofessional, but
For some odd reason, people don't understand they can like and love us both.
Brandy has been open in the past about her own struggles with body image and an eating disorder. She talked about how the pressure to look a certain way in the industry pushed her into unhealthy patterns, all to maintain that flawless public image. So when Sy'rai started dealing with similar issues, folks assumed Brandy would step in. Who better to help her daughter than someone who had already walked that same difficult road? But that's where the questions start. If Brandy had been through it, why didn't she help Sy'rai avoid that same pain? Some fans believe Brandy did try. There's speculation that during Sy'rai's most difficult years, Brandy herself gained weight on purpose, not just for health reasons, but maybe to help her daughter feel less isolated. A person commented saying, "It's so sad how generational trauma keeps cycling if nobody calls it out." I feel for Sy'rai because growing up in the shadow of your mom's fame is hard enough, but to feel like you don't even fit in with your own family, that is different. Another one added, "Brandy always seemed sweet, but you can see she's been under her mama's control for years too." I don't think she knew how to help Sy'rai because she was still trying to heal her own inner child. There's also talk that Brandy may have distanced herself not because she didn't care, but because she didn't want people talking. The Norwood brand has always been about image, and maybe Brandy, after all those years of pressure herself, just didn't know how to deal with having a daughter who didn't fit that same mold. Maybe it wasn't about judgment, maybe it was fear. Fear of backlash, fear of repeating history.
I did feel pressure to kind of quickly do it or, try and maneuver how I would, let me not eat this for a week or let me kind of change up everything just to kind of form a little Instagram body, but that's not normal.
Sy'rai eventually found her voice, and when she spoke, it was clear just how deep her pain ran. She talked about being nervous every time someone brought up her mom's name in conversation, not because she wasn't proud, but because she felt the weight of the comparison. She said it clearly, "Why am I not that size?" That question wasn't about vanity, it was about identity. She was watching her mom live the dream while she struggled to feel seen at all. She felt overlooked, molded, and boxed in by expectations she didn't ask for. In one clip, she admitted that seeing Brandy on red carpets looking a certain way made her question why she wasn't made the same. That's not just pressure, she was just trying to exist. And when she finally started to glow up, it wasn't just about her body. It was her first real shot at being herself. Now we're seeing a different Sy'rai. But let's not ignore the bigger picture. Sonja Norwood was known for controlling Brandy's career from day one, managing her image, cleaning up every scandal, and now people are asking, did Brandy turn around and do the same thing to her own daughter? Maybe it wasn't intentional, maybe it was survival mode. But whatever the reason, Sy'rai is clearly choosing a different path. She's not hiding behind a brand or a fake story. She's telling it exactly how it happened, flaws and all. Do you think Brandy was trying to help in her own way, or was she just repeating what she was taught by Sonja? And where does Sy'rai go from here? Drop your thoughts down below, hit that like button if you're still with me, and don't forget to subscribe for updates.